Dear friends, this is the lecture number 5 of electromagnetic induction. In the previous lecture, we discussed about mutual induction. But in this lecture, we'll discuss a very usual thing what you always use in your day-to-day life. That is eddy current. Eddy current we'll discuss. So it's a very important thing, eddy current. In practical life, in day-to-day life, you have a lot of application of this eddy current. So what is this eddy current? Let's draw one conductor. Suppose this is a conductor. Whenever we discuss about a conductor, immediately it comes to the mind that you draw a line. And if I tell you that now current flows through this conductor, immediately what we will do? One arrow mark. That current pass from which terminal to which terminal? From higher potential to lower potential. That means from the positive terminal to negative terminal. This is always we do like this. Always we draw like this. So whenever I tell that draw a conductor and the current passes through this conductor, immediately you draw a straight line and then putting one arrow mark. That means current passes through the conductor from one terminal to other terminal. But today, what I am telling you, I am going to tell you, you will be astonished. You will be astonished. What is that? So, this is a conductor, but I have drawn a thin conductor. But let's magnify the figure of this conductor. Suppose this is the conductor. If this is the conductor, then you will be astonished that the current flow in this conductor like this, like this, like this. Current flow in the body of the conductor. In the body of the conductor. If I take one plate, metal plate I will take. Suppose this is one metal plate. Current pass in this metal plate like this current pass. You know always a current flows in a conductor from one terminal to another terminal. But what is this? Here current pass in the body of the conductor, making closed paths in the body of the conductor instead of going from one terminal to other terminal. In the body of the conductor, in that solid block, current form closed loop inside it instead of going from one terminal to other terminal. What happens if this current is not, if this conductor is not connected to any cell? Suppose this conductor is not closed. You will tell that if the circuit is not closed, then no current passes through this conductor. You have that idea. But here, no closed circuit, nothing. No closed circuit, nothing, only that conductor. But current pass in the body of the conductor. This current is called as eddy current. You know current pass from one terminal to another terminal. That earlier in your mind, that picture was there. And if the circuit is also not closed, then no current passes through it. But now you are getting astonished. Obviously that in the body of the conductor, that current form closed path. No conductor is not connected to any circuit. But in the body of the conductor, current flows in closed path. This is called eddy current. But when this happens? When this happens? In which situation? If magnetic flux linked with this conductor change, then one current constitute in the body of the conductor. That current is called as eddy current. Instead of going from one terminal to another terminal, inside the body of the conductor, it forms closed path perpendicular to the magnetic lines of forces. It from closed path perpendicular to the magnetic lines of forces, and it remains or it confined in the body of the conductor. This is called eddy current. So again I am telling you what is eddy current. The current which constitute in the body of the conductor due to change in magnetic flux linked with it is called as eddy current, and it form closed path perpendicular to the magnetic lines of forces. One similar, if you can't able to understand here, one similar situation I am telling you. You have seen in a river what happens. Water flows, but water flows from the higher height towards the lower height. So when water flows in the river, it flows from the higher height towards the lower height. And ultimately that water goes towards the sea. In river that happens. Water goes in the river. Water goes in the river from, if this is a river, water goes from higher height to the lower height. Water goes like this. Okay? Just like this in this conductor from one terminal to another terminal. But have you marked in a river when generally heavy water comes in river or during the flood time? Have you marked in one place in a river water form this type of water becomes this type? Have you marked? This is called as what? Whirlpools. This is called as whirlpools. Eddies or whirlpools, that is called. All of you know that. You have seen. In river, when water flows towards the sea, but in some places it forms eddies or whirlpools, which are very dangerous in river. If by chance somebody, you will enter into that whirlpool, what will happen? It will rotate that person in circular path, and gradually moves along the axis of rotation inward, and the person can't able to escape from that. If any person will be trapped in that whirlpool, this is very dangerous. So water flows towards the sea, but in some places that whirlpools, eddies or whirlpools form. So similar current is flowing here. Current generally flow like this, but in some cases this situation happens. When magnetic flux linked to the coil changes, then current form closed path inside it, just like the river case. Hence its name is eddy current. And who is the man who first invented it and when? 1895. 1895. The name of the scientist is Foucault. Foucault is the name of the scientist. In 1895 discovered this eddy current. So this current is also called as Foucault current. Its other name is Foucault current, as Foucault discovered this current in 1895. So this eddy current has some advantages and some disadvantages. What are its advantages? Where you are using the eddy current? Let's discuss its applications. Where you are using this eddy current and where the magnetic flux linked with a conductor, linked with a metal change. So let's discuss its applications in day-to-day life where we use this eddy current. So where is day-to-day life? So first is induction furnace. Induction furnace. Here we use the eddy current. How? To make alloys. To make alloys, we will use the concept of eddy current in induction furnace. What happens there? There one jacket, one covering is there of a high melting point metal covering, and inside that covering This is the, suppose the high jacket covering will take, high jacket covering this is, and inside this metal covering will take two different metals what we want to make the alloys. This part is one metal and this part, that part I am drawing other pen, this part is another metal. We will take other metal. So suppose you take this is copper, you take suppose this is zinc, take other metal. So this is one metal, this is one metal. Then what you do? You rotate this jacket covering, you rotate this combination of these two metals. So these are the solid metals I have taken, copper solid and zinc solid, but you rotate it with very high speed in a strong magnetic field, giving it a strong magnetic field, you rotate it with a very high speed. Eddy current form on these metals. When eddy current form in these metals, that eddy current produce a lot of heat. You know, when current pass, according to thermal effect, Joule's law, current when pass, heat produced. When heat produced, then a large amount of heat produced there, so that the copper and zinc, the solid metals melt. These metals melt, and when they melt, they convert into liquid, and when two liquids rotate, what will happen? After some time they mix with each other. When they mix with each other, then you will get the alloy of copper and zinc. You will neither get a copper nor get a zinc. When you cool the system, switch is off, rotation stop, no eddy current. When you cool the system, you will neither get copper nor zinc, rather you will get alloy of copper and zinc. So this is the function of eddy, this is the function of induction furnace where eddy current is used. So another application I am telling you about this eddy current. One important application is, another one I am telling you, have you ever thought how the electric trains, how the trains stops? Whenever the platform comes, the trains comes to rest. The trains stops there. How? They apply also brake. But what is the brake in electric train or trains? What is the brake? The brakes, you know, in your cycle, rubber brush is there. In bike, high-speed bike, you know, fluid brake is there. In aeroplanes, fluid brake is there. But which brake is used in electric trains? Have you ever thought about this? So that is the eddy current. Eddy current help to stop the electric trains. How eddy current help to stop the electric trains? Your train wheel is made up of iron. So just on both sides of this wheel, magnetic system is there, electromagnetic system is there. Whenever the driver wants to stop the train, just activate the magnetic field. When the magnetic field gets activated, and within that magnetic field, within two magnets, when this rotates, when the wheel rotates, so just at the center of the wheel, eddy current form there. Eddy current form when the drivers just switch on the magnetic field, now activate, and eddy current form. If eddy current form, according to Lenz's law, this eddy current is also an induced current. So induced current must opposite its cause. What is the cause of this eddy current? Cause is the rotation of a wheel. As the wheel rotates, so eddy current form. So that eddy current as one induced current, that must oppose its cause. And what is the cause? Cause is the rotation. So it opposes the rotation of the wheel according to Lenz's law. According to Lenz's law, the eddy current opposes the rotation of the wheel and traveling some distance that wheel comes to rest. In this way, the magnetic brake is used in electric trains. Magnetic brake, eddy current helps there. So then third application. This is second application over. Then third application I will tell you about speedometer. Have you ever thought how your vehicle speedometer works? You all are driving your vehicle, but how that speedometer pointer show 60 kilometer, 40 kilometer, 80 kilometer, 120 kilometer, how that works? You can able to know. Sometimes you do this one. You just using double stand. You now just make your vehicle stand now using the double stand of the vehicle. Okay, then one wheel. The wheels now are just lifted from the ground. Okay, then that front wheel you rotate without starting the vehicle, without operating the starter of the vehicle. The front wheel you just rotate. If you rotate the front by taking some stick or something, you rotate the front wheel and you see that speedometer. What happened there? The speedometer will show deflection like this. It will show 10 kilometer, 20 kilometer per hour, 10 kilometer per hour. It will show deflection. So, is the vehicle moving on the road? No. Using double stand, you have just to make the vehicle there. Okay. The vehicle is not moving. But when you rotate the wheel, it is showing like this. Then what happened here? Because that speedometer also operates by eddy current. How it operates by eddy current? So in your wheel at the center, their magnetic system is there. Magnetic system is there at the center of your wheel. So when you drive your now vehicle, so when that wheel rotates, then at that center eddy current form. Due to rotation, their magnetic system rotate. When that magnetic system rotate at the center, so eddy current form, one metallic drum is kept and eddy current form there at the center of the wheel. When eddy current form, that eddy current is connected to your speedometer. More is the speed of your vehicle, more is the rotation. More is the rotation means more is the flux change. Rate of change of a flux is more. According to Faraday's second law, more EMF is induced. So more current is induced. And your vehicle speedometer pointer deflects more. So this is the principle in which the vehicle speedometer also operates. Now come to point number 4, application number 4. Application number 4 is your application number 4C, that is your electromagnetic damping. Damping happens. What is electromagnetic damping? Damping is this. Suppose one copper plate, you between two magnets. Suppose you take one copper plate, you take here. You take one copper plate between two magnets. So this is north pole, this is south pole, lines of forces are passing like this. These are the lines of forces are passing like this. Okay. So with this copper plate, you just oscillate inside between the two magnets. When you oscillate the copper plate, in the copper plate eddy current form. Eddy current form in that copper plate. When eddy current form in the copper plate, that copper plate eddy current property according to Lenz's law, it will oppose the cause. What is the cause? Cause is the oscillation of this copper plate. It will not allow the copper plate to oscillate. It will not allow the copper plate to oscillate, so the copper plate immediately comes to rest. Without a magnet, you oscillate once, you will see it will oscillate for more time. But keeping the magnet, if you oscillate, it immediately comes to rest because eddy current opposes its cause, and the cause is oscillation. So oppose oscillation. It's called damping. You know this damping in class 11th in oscillation chapter, when a simple pendulum you do oscillate like this. After some time, its amplitude decrease and comes to 0. That's called damping. The phenomenon of a decrease of amplitude is called damping. Here the amplitude of the copper plate decreases. This is called damping. And this concept is used in galvanometer. What happens in galvanometer? How this concept is used in galvanometer? In galvanometer, what happens there? In galvanometer, you are using soft iron core. So galvanometer rotates, that coil rotates. You just recall galvanometer, what read in the galvanometer, that a coil deflects. In galvanometer, one coil deflects, one pointer is connected to the coil, and deflection happens due to presence of a current. If a current is there, then the coil deflects. One pointer is connected there to the coil to show the galvanometer reading. Okay, so this is 0 reading of the galvanometer. I'm showing here, this is the 0 reading of the galvanometer. But when current pass, immediately what happens? This galvanometer pointer, when you do switch on, current pass, immediately galvanometer pointer show the reading like this. Suppose 10 ampere or something reading like this. But when you do switch off, what happens to the pointer? Have you marked the pointer? What happens to the pointer? The pointer immediately it comes to 0. Immediately it comes like this. It's 0. Suppose if you current pass, if current stop, current pass, current stop, like this. Suddenly the pointer comes to 0 position. That's why galvanometer is called as deadbeat type galvanometer. Deadbeat type. Galvanometer is called deadbeat type galvanometer. Deadbeat type. In exam question comes, why galvanometer is called deadbeat type? Because when current is off in the circuit, the pointer immediately returns to 0. Pointer immediately returns to 0. That's why it is called deadbeat type. But why immediately it returns to 0? Your current is off. Current in the circuit is off means no deflecting torque. No deflecting torque. But as the coil rotates, eddy current form in the soft iron core. Soft iron core is not connected to any electric supply there. It is just kept in the core. It is not connected to any electric supply. But when the pointer rotate, when that coil rotate between two pole pieces, when the coil rotate, so eddy current constitute in the soft iron, which opposes the rotation. But when your deflecting torque stop, immediately it shows its work. Immediately it becomes active and return the pointer immediately to 0. Immediately to 0. So that's why it is called a deadbeat type galvanometer. But have you marked what happens in the other meters? In other meter, any meter you can use, you can tell that in other meters, any type of a measurement when you do, suppose the pointer is going like this. When you stop the action, the pointer returns to 0 but slowly. The pointer returns to 0 but slowly. But in galvanometer, what happens? Suddenly the pointer returns to 0. But in other meters, it comes slowly to 0. So that's why galvanometer is called a deadbeat type, as the pointer immediately returns to 0 due to eddy current in soft iron core that oppose rotation of the coil and immediately bring the coil to its equilibrium position, to its 0 position now. Immediately bring the pointer to 0 position. So this is the function of this electromagnetic damping concept or deadbeat type galvanometer. Also, it has a lot of applications. Another application I am telling you. Another application I am telling you in medical purpose. Now the question is coming to your mind. So is it used in medical purpose? Yes. It is also used in medical purpose. So one branch is there, that is endoctothermy. In medical science, one branch is there that is called endoctothermy. So in this branch, what happens? Localized tissues are getting heated by the help of this eddy current. By the help of the eddy current, will heat some localized tissues in this branch, endoctothermy. So this is the application. These are the different applications of eddy current. I told you where it is used. One is in induction furnace, one is the magnetic brake of electric train. Also it is used in speedometer. Also galvanometer is called a deadbeat type. Electromagnetic damping happens, and also in medical science. It is a lot of use. After that also there are many applications of eddy current you can go through. Okay, so many applications of eddy current are there. It has a lot of advantages. Has it any disadvantages? Yes, it has also some disadvantages. We'll compare this eddy current to one force in mechanics chapter of class 11th. Which force? Can you mark what application? When I told you the applications, you mark one thing, that according to Lenz's law principle, this eddy current opposes relative motion. It opposes motion. If rotation is there, it opposes rotation. It opposes motion, this eddy current. So if it opposes a motion, which force opposes motion in class 11th? Which force opposes motion in class 11th? So that is friction. So this eddy current is treated as electric friction. This eddy current is treated as electric friction as it opposes motion. This is one disadvantage of eddy current. It opposes motion. So disadvantages, these are the applications. Then disadvantages. So one disadvantage is opposes motion. This eddy current opposes motion. So where it is not necessary, where that eddy current is not necessary, but it comes into action and opposes the motion. Suppose somewhere some conductor is rotating in magnetic field and the rotation is required, but eddy current will not allow that conductor to rotate. So it opposes motion. Second, what happens? Due to eddy current, heat generates. Due to eddy current, heat generates. That is also one loss. Our electric energy is lost in the form of heat. In induction furnace, we are taking the advantage of the eddy current and we need heat there. But in some cases where we don't need heat, their energy is lost in the form of heat due to this eddy current. Energy loss in the form of heat due to this eddy current. Energy loss. Energy loss in the form of heat due to this eddy current. This happens where we know in transformer. In transformer, eddy current constitute due to change in the magnetic field, because transformer works in alternating current. When alternating current pass, then this magnetized demagnetized system is there. So in transformer, energy loss in the form of heat due to this eddy current. So these are the advantages of eddy current. Just we are discussing similar to friction in class 11th. In friction, we have first discussed advantages of friction. Then we discuss disadvantages of friction. After that, what we have discussed in friction? When you saw some disadvantages, then we discuss how to minimize the disadvantage. The same thing also we'll discuss here. How we'll minimize eddy current where it is not required. How will you minimize this eddy current? So one method, now we'll come to the methods of minimization of eddy current. Minimization. How will you minimize? First method is lamination. What do you mean by lamination? Instead of taking one block of a metal, you take it in the form of a sheets, like this you see. You take it in the form of a sheets instead of taking it as one block. So this is the figure of lamination. You see, this is one sheet. One sheet. These are one sheet now. Okay. So you now tie the sheets by the help of a knots here. Now see. This is one sheet. This is one sheet. This is another sheet. This is another sheet. Another sheet. Another sheet. So these are one sheets which are insulated from each other. Insulated paint is applied there to insulate the sheets from each other. What is its advantage? How we will minimize eddy current by doing this process? This is called lamination. One sheet will not touch the other sheet. This is called lamination. Sometimes you also do lamination of your certificates. Okay, that one certificate, one lamination, another certificate, another lamination, so that they will not touch each other. So what happens there? This is called lamination. How? By this lamination will reduce the eddy current. Now you think, if eddy current flow, so in one sheet suppose 2 ampere flow. In other sheet also 2 ampere flow. In other sheet also 2 ampere flow. But this 2 ampere only confined to this sheet because it is insulated from the next sheet. In next sheet 2 ampere, next sheet 2 ampere, next sheet 2 ampere. Now this 2 ampere current is confined to only one sheet. But you imagine, suppose they are not laminated. If they are not laminated, then this 2 ampere current will add with this 2 ampere. Also this current will add with this 2 ampere. Also with this 2 ampere. With this 2 ampere. Now you imagine, when these currents are added, there will be 4 ampere, 6 ampere, 8 ampere, 10 ampere. And that 10 ampere current will pass through the whole sheets. But now, due to lamination, they can't be added. What is the advantage of lamination? The current of different sheets cannot be added. Current from different sheets cannot be added. So as they cannot be added, so current will not be more. Only this 2 ampere is confined only to this sheet. This 2 ampere only confined to this sheet. So there will not be 4 ampere. But if you will not do lamination, they will be added and the whole current 10-12 ampere will pass in all the sheets. They form 2 ampere, but when the current will pass, it will 10 ampere current will pass in all the sheets. So this is the process called lamination. Where it is used? This lamination? It is used in transformer. Basically in transformer, that core, the core we take, that soft iron core what we take in transformer, that is laminated core. That core is called laminated core. So another method is there. Second method is, that is called slotting. What do you mean by slotting? Slotting means, suppose this is a copper plate. Instead of taking the whole plate like this, what we'll do, we'll just cut the slots here, you see. We'll cut the slots here. This is called slotting. What is the advantage of this slotting? So now what happens? Suppose if you don't cut, it is like this. If you cut the slots, it is like this. If you don't cut, what happens? Now current pass forming, the eddy current pass like this. But if you cut this now, the slots. Now you see how eddy current pass. Eddy current pass like this. Will enter, again pass, again pass. Now eddy current pass like this. Okay, if we got the slots. What happened here? Can you mark? What happened so that I am telling if you got the slots, eddy current will be less. Effective resistance increases because effective path length increases. Effective path length increases here. Here the path is this much. But here the path is this much. You see, the path is this much. So what is the advantage of slotting? Effective path length increases. So effective resistance increases. Hence eddy current decreases. So this is the methods how to minimize eddy current. So this is the eddy current, everything I told you about eddy current. But what questions come in exam about eddy current? What questions comes in exam? First one question I am telling you what always comes in exam. One question always comes in exam. The question is like this. Suppose one coil is here. This is a coil. Okay. This is a coil is kept. And this coil you have connected to one source. You may connect to AC or DC, not matter. So this AC source is connected to this. This is one coil. It is wrapped on a core, no problem. Okay. So it is wrapped on a core, no problem. So now what happened? You just bring a metal disc or metal ring. You keep a metal ring just on this and do switch on. One key is connected here. Switch is on. When you do the switch on, this ring jumps. This ring jumps from the coil. If you keep the ring here on the coil, when you do switch on, this ring jumps. Have you seen this? No? Okay, so I want to show you that very small experiment you can able to see. So this is the coil. So this is the coil here. Okay, I have connected 220 volt alternating voltage I have applied here. Now no current is passing in this. But I'll now keep now you see, I'll keep one ring. This is one ring now I keep metal ring. Very light metal ring now in this one. This you see this metal ring is kept on it, on the coil. Metal ring is kept. But you mark here when the switch, if I do the switch on, immediately current pass and this ring jumps. Now you can able to see it. You could able to mark how the ring is jumping. Okay, I am taking another ring. If you have not seen, you see here. When I do switch on, the ring will immediately jump and will go away. The jumping. See. So, but why this happens? So this is a question. This is a question in your example book you will find. But why that ring jumps? Obviously, because as I am now teaching you eddy current, so your answer will most come, sir, due to eddy current. Okay, due to eddy current. But how will you understand? How will you understand this explanation of this eddy current? Okay, now let's see how I'm explaining you now. You now will see the upper part of this coil. I'm taking only the upper part of this coil, and this is the ring. Initially, the current was 0, but when I do switch on, immediately current establishes. Means from 0 to immediately current increases. Means increasing situation is here. Increasing situation. Okay. So when immediately current increase, it behaves like a magnet here. So here eddy current form, magnetic flux comes, eddy current form in this ring. When eddy current form in this ring, so the current flows in which direction? That matters. And the direction of current we can able to know by the help of Lenz's law. such that it opposes a cause. Why current flow? It's okay. When I do switch on, immediately current pass, as it is behaves like a magnet, so magnetic flux immediately increase. Do switch on means immediately magnetic flux suddenly increase from 0 to maximum value. When flux increase, here eddy current fall. But in which sense current pass so that the coil jumps in upward direction? Okay, now let's see. Suppose in this now current pass in this way. In such a way current pass so the upper side is now south pole and the lower side is now north pole. The sense of a current is like this, so that the upper part is south pole and the lower part is north pole. But here the sense of a current will be same or opposite? Same or opposite? The current sense will be now here. As I had already told you, when increasing means opposite, decreasing means same. So the sense of a current will be here in the opposite direction. So the upper part is now here. So in the opposite, so this is north pole, this is the south pole here. As the sense of current is opposite, so in such a direction the current pass, that opposite poles develop there. You see, this will be the south pole and this will be this is the north pole and this will be the south pole. Okay, the upper part will be the north pole, the lower part will be the south pole. Because in opposite sense current will pass. According to Lenz's law, increasing means opposite. If here current pass in this way, in clockwise direction, here the current pass anti-clockwise direction. When I see from the top, I am looking from the top, okay, from the upper surface. So its upper part south, lower part north, but its upper part will be north and lower part will be south. So south to south, what will happen to this ring? South will repel south or attract south? It will repel the south pole and the ring will jump immediately. Can you able to understand what I told? Alright, again I am telling you. So here the current suppose is passing like this, such that the upper part is south pole and the lower part is north pole. Lower part is north pole means lower will come, the ring lower part will be north pole, ring upper part will be south pole. The current passes in such a direction that only for this ring I am telling, but for the whole coil if you will see, the upper part is south and lower part is north. In such a sense the current is passing. If it is now current pass in this way, suppose this is clockwise from the upper side and here it will be anti-clockwise from the upper side. So upper part will be north pole and the lower part will be south pole. So south to south repel each other, hence the ring suddenly jumps. But if you already current pass through that ring, already current is passing through the ring, but you do switch off. If you do switch off, in same sense current will pass, because off means current decrease. Current decrease, magnetic field decrease, flux decrease. Decrease means same. Decrease means same. In same sense current will pass. And the lower part will be north pole and upper part will be south pole. In the same sense also field develop. You see, north, south, lower north, upper south. So then this south north is facing each other. Then they attract each other and the coil that this ring gets attracted by the coil. At the time of switch off, but at the time switch on, it now jump. So this is a question, very important question. This is called jumping ring experiment or jumping disc experiment also about eddy current. And electromagnetic damping also I told you in exam the questions come. Why copper plate gets damped between two magnets when it oscillates? You can write the answer due to eddy current. The question comes in exam, why galvanometer is called a deadbeat type galvanometer? Write the methods to minimize eddy current, lamination and slutting. What is the advantage of slutting? Effective path length increases, so resistance increases, hence eddy current decreases. What is the advantage of lamination? The current of one sheet is not added with the current of other sheets, so current cannot be added, so it cannot increase. So these type of questions always comes from ET current in exams. So then last part of this chapter will go the very important one, that is AC generator. It's a very important device, you know, AC generator. What it works, what is its function? It converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. This AC generator provides you electrical energy. Generator, you might have the generator installed in your house. On your school also generators are there. There some other energy is converted into electrical energy. Mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy in generator. Its function is to provide you electrical energy. So what is the principle of this device? What is the principle of this device? What is it we discussed? What is the principle? Its principle is that electromagnetic induction, Faraday's law. Whenever magnetic flux linked with a coil changes, EMF is induced. This is the principle. Magnetic flux will change, so EMF is induced. EMF means current. When the path will close, then current pass. It will provide you potential difference. But basically here what happens? In which way we change the flux here? Flux formula is phi is equal to BA cos theta. Here not B, not A, but what change here? Theta changes. In AC generator, one coil rotates between two pole pieces of magnet. So let's come to its function. So let's come to its construction. What is the construction of this AC generator? Construction. So first important part of its construction is magnet. Horseshoe shape. Two pole pieces will take. I'm drawing the figure here. So this is the horseshoe shape to pole pieces magnet will take. So you can draw the figure like this. One magnet I am doing here. This is suppose one magnet. Okay. So here you can draw the magnets. Also set pole pieces magnets here. Then okay, you can draw the figures. Then here one armature coil. Coil is here. One armature coil. I am doing the coil in other pen. You see, this is a copper coil having many number of turns. Copper coil having many number of turns. One break is here because this coil will rotate. This coil will rotate inside between the two pole pieces of the magnet. The coil will rotate. Okay. So here, then this coil is made up of copper. Coil is made up of a copper, and these are the two pole pieces magnet. Second is the coil. Second is the coil, and third is the slip ring and carbon brass. We will connect slip ring here. So slip ring and carbon brass are connected from here. Slip ring you will connect here. Okay, so two slip rings are there, S1 and S2. Then carbon brass B1 and B2 are connected. This graphite or any something, some metal, very lightly they are connected to the slip rings. Okay, so these are the two slip rings. Metallic slip rings are connected, and this is the armature. This is called as armature coil, and these are the two pole pieces. So what happens here? The coil rotates inside the pole pieces. But how the coil will rotate? Who will rotate the coil? By the expense of mechanical energy. You can rotate the coil, but if you will rotate the coil, the EMF induced will be very less. Maximum it can able to light one LED bulb. Okay, one LED it can able to light. But who rotate? In the nearby power station of your town. So who rotate there? Generally when water falls from a very higher height, the water falls on the blades of a very large fan. On the blades of a very large fan, water falls from very higher height. When the water falls on the blades of the fan rotates. So who rotates the fan? The potential energy of water. And that fan axis is connected to this armature coil axis. When it is connected to the armature coil axis, then the armature coil rotates. When the fan rotates, armature coil rotates. When armature coil rotates, then flux change. Due to rotation, because theta change. When flux change, EMF is induced. This is the function of this AC generator. In exam, this always comes as a 5 marks derivation. Very, very important question, AC generator. Very, very important. Always comes as 5 marks derivation. So these are the different parts of this. Magnet, armature coil, then carbon brush, then slip ring. These are the different parts of this AC generator. So then, now let's come to the theory part of this. So how much EMF is induced? Let's see. Let's come to the theory part of this AC generator. So flux length, before that we'll take N is equal to number of turns, B is equal to magnetic field strength, A is equal to area of this coil. So then how much flux is linked at any instant t. Suppose at any instant t we will see the flux, that NBA, number of turns is N. So NBA cos theta, where theta is the angle between magnetic field and aerial vector of the coil. So NBA, so if the coil rotates with angular velocity omega, omega is equal to angular velocity, then I will write omega is equal to theta by t. Angular velocity, angular displacement by time. So in place of theta, can I write omega t? So what is the EMF induced? E minus d phi by dt according to Faraday's second law. So d by dt NBA cos omega t. Now you differentiate it. What you will get here? You will get EMF is equal to minus constant you take outside, NBA is taken outside, cos omega t differentiation is minus sin omega t into omega. So then minus minus plus NBA omega sin omega t. So this is the EMF induced. But what is the maximum value of this EMF? What is the maximum value of this EMF? So maximum value of EMF is, here you see, this EMF will be maximum if sin omega t will be 1. When sin omega t is 1, sin omega t is maximum value is 1. When it is 1, EMF is maximum. And the maximum value I am writing E naught. That is NBA omega. This is the maximum value of EMF. Okay, if this is the maximum value NBA omega, then I can write E equal to E naught sin omega t. This is the EMF produced in the AC generator, expression of EMF. And if I tell you about the current, current is equal to EMF by resistance. So E naught by R sin omega t. Then what about I? What is E naught by R? That is I naught. Also this is the maximum current, or this is called peak current or maximum current of this. Now as current here varies with omega t, means current is not constant. So the current what we get here, this current is a function of time, means current is not constant. But till today what current we discuss, always we discuss about direct current, direct current, direct current, always current constant. But here current varies with time. Current is not constant. If current varies with time, let's do one table to find the values of current in different situations for different value of omega t. When 0, sin 0 is 0. When omega t pi by 2, then this is I naught. When omega t is pi, again 0. 3 pi by 2, again minus I naught. Then 2 pi 0. let's draw a graph of this current versus omega t. So it is 0, this is pi by 2, this is pi, 3 pi by 2, this is 2 pi. So how the graph will be here? When it is pi by 2, then maximum value I naught plus I naught. When it is 3 pi by 2, minimum value, that is minus I naught. So the graph will be like this. This is the graph of the current which is produced by AC generator. Can you able to mark this current? Current is not at all constant. Always the current changes its magnitude. Always magnitude. At every instant magnitude is increasing, become maximum, then decrease, become negative, then again increase, decrease. Not at all constant. And also in between the current becomes zero. When the current flow, sometimes also this current becomes zero in between. Many times it becomes zero. Another situation you see, up to this from 0 to pi the current is positive. But from pi to 2 pi the current becomes negative. Current becomes negative means it changes its direction. So the direction also it is changing. Direction it is changing after every half cycle. After every half cycle it is changing its direction. Every half cycle means after a particular interval of time it is changing its direction. So can I say it changes direction periodically? Because it remains fixed for some time, then again change for some time, again change for a particular interval of time. You see, after a particular interval of time it changes its direction. So we get such a current that which changes its magnitude continuously but direction periodically. What is this current? Alternating current. So now we got alternating current from AC generator. So the next chapter will start, that is the alternating current. Okay, so before closing this one, what questions comes in exam from this? You can do your NCERT book last example. NCERT book last example is based on this. Okay, you can do based on this formula that the peak EMF NBA omega, what is the maximum value of EMF which can be produced. But an NCERT book example that you can do, example. But another question also sometimes comes in exam. If the angular speed of the coil becomes double, what happens to the peak EMF? See. If the angular speed becomes double, what happens to the value of a peak EMF? Double means omega becomes double. Angular speed double means omega becomes double, means coil will rotate in faster rate. If coil rotates faster, omega becomes double, then what happens to the peak EMF? Peak EMF also becomes double. From this expression, it's very clear. When omega becomes double, peak EMF also becomes double. This question always comes in exam. So today we discuss about eddy current and AC generator. Thank you.